Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. And tonight, we are reviewing Hellbender, coming to Shudder. All right, let me introduce the rest of the crew, starting off with Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm fabulous.
Fabulous.
I feel like I need to go like rock out.
Oh,
I should have done my makeup.
You should have little stripes and
Bowie
makeup.
Oh yes, that's what I thought too. Mm-hmm.
All right. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. I just feel like I want to just catch on fire and burst into the atmosphere real quick. But
yes, we've seen you do that before. It's quite fascinating.
After you've been hanged and
it's probably all those pine cones.
Pine cones.
If we see this movie, you'll know what I mean.
Yes. And of course, the master of makeup, wearing it right now, rounding out the crew is the one and only Dave Dreher.
He just called you ugly.
I'm like, what?
That's okay. I'm used to it.
Oh, is that what? Oh, okay. That's what I didn't get it.
Hey, where the hell is Jeff Mohr, by the way? What happened to him?
Still out of town.
He cannot possibly still be out of town.
He's until March. Apparently his kids like him or something.
Good.
He's out wandering in the woods.
That's not funny. No, I kind of
wow. Okay. I just thought maybe he'd graduated to a bigger, better podcast or something.
For shame.
Dave, you and I are going to have a long talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give our first impression of Hellbender. That will be spoiler-free, and then we'll dive into discussion. And there might be spoilers. I'm not really sure with this movie. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And, of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site, including...
What was that?
Don't get me tickled. Oh, if you want to help us out, it would be really awesome. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share with a friend. It'll all do wonders for us, and we will thank you so much. Like that. Yeah. And then, of course, we want to hear your comments down below. All right, what are we talking about? Hellbender, coming to Shudder, available February 24th. Written and directed by John Adams, Zelda Adams, and Toby Poser. The cast includes Zelda Adams, Toby Poser, and Lulu Adams. Synopsis is a lonely teen discovers her family ties to witchcraft, which is pretty accurate.
Yep. Oh, that was quick. Jeez.
Thank you.
I'm like, oh, we're back.
Thank you.
Put your clothes back on.
Yeah, usually there's a lot of name pronunciations that we have to sit through.
Well, it was Adams.
Adams.
I said Adams.
Actually, their production company is like Adams Family Productions, which is cute. But it's just one D, you know.
One D, but it works.
Now that Doc's all finger guns,
you gotta turn your shoulder too.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
He's a true hellbender right now.
Doc,
true hellbender, yeah.
If you don't turn your shoulder, it doesn't work. All right, let's get into our first impressions. Dave, you're at the top left. Why don't you start us off? What was your first impression, sir? Hellbender.
I feel like I've been going first a lot lately. I'm liking it. Yeah, you know what? This started off, and I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, it's another one of these folk horror pieces of shit. Because, it's like, it starts off with that, like puritanical, witchy, and it's like, oh, God damn it. But then, like, Christopher already alluded to it. Like, this fucking witch lady just, like, takes off like a rocket ship. And I'm like, oh, my God, what am I watching? I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. There's a lot of really weird visual flair to this movie that just kind of appealed to me, and the story got weird, but it kind of drug me along. So yeah, you can't say too much about this without getting spoilery. So I'm just going to shut up and say I enjoyed this.
You enjoyed it. I like that. All right, Crystal Cleveland, you're up next. What is your first impression of Hellbender?
Okay, well, the first thing I have to say is this is a really weird family, and I dig that a lot. Okay, that goes a long way with me because you've got the mom and the dad and the two daughters all involved in this production. So it's really a family production, family affair. And I'm like, what kind of family do they have? They have such a great family. Like, I wish I grew up in that family. But so I enjoyed a lot about this movie. I did find it kind of disjointed at points with the story, and some things were kind of not fully thought out. There were some parts that didn't need to be there as well, but I think that the lead and the daughter did an excellent job in their roles, and there were some points between the mom and the daughter that they had some really cute moments. I feel like some of those moments were my favorite moments. So it is a coming of age story, and they have a band. They live in the mountain. They have a band. So we can say that without being spoiled.
Yes,
they have a band that they call Hellbender, which is kind of cute and kind of funny. They play metal. It's really, actually, the music I think is actually really good too. I think that, I think even one of the family members did all the music scoring. So really, like, this was probably a very low budget film that they filmed probably on their property somewhere. And so when I think about it like that, I'm like, that's pretty good for what they had to work with. And like I said, I think they all did a great job in their roles. Some of it I just found thrown in and added, but I liked the overall concept, and I liked some of the moments. I liked some of the interactions. It's lacking something. Maybe it's a big budget. I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint exactly what it is that's missing for me, because it doesn't necessarily fall flat, but it's not even boring.
It falls short. That's all it is.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. But I enjoyed it. Overall, I enjoyed it.
All right. Christopher D. Morser, stripes and all. What is your first impression of Hellbender?
If you were to make a witch's brew, you'd mix in a little bit of Harry Potter, a little bit of Brightburn, a little bit of Carrie, and you would get elements of this. Also, if you want to play a drinking game, every time there's a drone shot, you will have alcohol poisoning by the end of this film.
They did like their drone shots.
So many drone shots to where I felt like my eyes are going to roll out my head. It's like, okay, we get it. This is a forest.
You have a drone.
Yes.
We get it. And then I also just, halfway through, I was like, is this another one of those sort of music video pieces where you have these little music video moments? Yeah, I mean, this film it's a mixture of things. The story is very confusing, and it doesn't really flow right. And also there's different levels of quality special effects that happen. There's moments like, oh, that's cool, and there's a moment with the key. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool in an indie film. And then other moments like, oh, that's bad. So it and maybe it's because this is an indie film. It wears this on its sleeve. I mean, because there's some really cool. They lucked out with some really cool scenery for certain shots, which a lot of times you don't necessarily have the best camera in the world, but if you have great scenery, that could sell production value. And there was moments where like, oh, how did they get like a shot with a deer and a this or that? Yeah, and I'll say like the main leads were good. I think it's just there's not a lot of explanation about certain things, and it's like we have it to where this girl doesn't understand what's happening, but then all of a sudden they're just straight into it. It's like, to me, it's almost like Harry Potter. Like, oh, I'm a wizard, and the next minute it's like, I already know how to do spells, and and then I'm like, they're eating pine cones. What is going on here? It's like I was like, I started a question like, I think they would be thin as a rail.
Yeah,
if they
with
were
the food they eat.
If they're eating like twigs and pine cones,
raspberry branches,
and raspberry branches. So, so yeah, it's I don't know. I was like, so I was confused a lot of it, and but it did have it. It did have its moments. So I mean, it's one of those films. Like, I appreciate what they're going for. I feel like if they had a bigger budget, they probably could have done some cooler things. But I think that the biggest problem is the story. I can see what they're going for, but I think the way the story plays out doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I feel like the one character kind of turns on a dime by the end. And then some of the other characters aren't as good actors.
Yeah.
Two main characters.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
a girl they meet. It's like, no, thank you.
The cop.
Oh, what? You mean the not the cop, but the was it a ranger? Wasn't it? Was it a ranger or a cop?
Ranger, yeah.
Okay, yeah, the ranger.
But yeah, I don't know. It's
same difference. I guess.
It's a mixed bag of elements, and I can appreciate certain elements and other parts. Like, ooh. So yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. I think I'm in Dave's camp here. This film won me over. I really liked our two leads, the Zelda Adams and Toby Poser as the Izzy and her mother. And yeah, it's like you're a wizard, Izzy, is basically what she says. And she's offering, but it's not until the worm is introduced that things snap into clarity for her, if you will. There are elements in this that I don't know. I like the intimacy of this. I like because it's really focused on these two characters. I mean, we do have other characters that they eventually interact with, but we're really focused on these two and very much on Izzy. And like you said, it's a coming of age and there is some similarities that Dave will bring out here shortly. But I thought they were pretty well rounded. We knew that there was the setting was there, and they had this interest in music, and the music was really good, supported what they were doing, and it had the right kind of vibe to tell this story. I don't know. For me, it won me over, and it's not perfect by any means, but at the same time, it's full of promise and full of talent, and it's like maybe a stepping stone in their career where you can say, hey, okay, this group of individuals, this Addams family, if you will, are on their way to something here. Keep at it. Don't stop now. I don't know. I had a ball with this and enjoyed it. I see what you guys mean with the story, because I think the story is one of the things that this film needs maybe a little polish on. The special effects didn't bother me as much because they were, like you said, there was really good special effects, like with a key, and then there were some other, kind of boneheaded ones. But at the same time, it all evened out and looked really well. And the cinematography is good. The chemistry between our leads was really good. I don't know. It won me over. I'll just stop.
Some of the cinematography. The cinematography varies in parts. Like there's a part where she's playing drums near the pool that's horribly shot and horribly edited to where it's like, oh God, it's almost like, did they get a different camera person?
Well, they did.
I think they did. Yeah, actually,
use different people. Yeah.
Because there was different variations of quality in different parts, and when you're making a film, and you want to make sure, or at least try to make sure, it all flows together as one thing. And I think when you have, it's almost like a quilt. It's like, oh, we're going to use this crappy piece in this part of the quilt and this other good piece, and sort of it makes it more evident when you're watching it. Although there's also scenes as like, what
actually was
we're okay. We're already in Spoilerville, right?
Yeah, we are in spoilers now.
There's what is up with their throwing up blood on each
I don't know.
That was funny though. That was so cute. I really liked that. Actually,
I was like, this is.
I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was. I thought it was stupid. Actually,
I loved
I didn't find it to be funny. I was like, this is just gross. And then I think when
they were laughing, and
it was cute.
When the girl does it the first time, you see a little bit of her blood fall into her mouth, and I was like, oh.
That's her mom.
And that's kind of where I drew we talked about this pre-show, and I drew a real quick comparison to this to Carrie. and it's kind of the same thing with this. That whole blood scene I took as to be like a baptism in blood, because it's shortly after that she realizes that she can't be stopped.
Right.
She's more powerful than her mother. And that's what happened with Carrie with the pig's blood. And then she, fucking wipes out the entire town. So this movie to me was just a different telling of Carrie.
That's nice.
It's about a young girl who has some powers that she doesn't understand and doesn't know she has because her mother has been overly protective. And as all children are going to do, she wanders out on her own and she figures this shit out. And to bad consequences. So this really was, to me, I would love to talk to the filmmakers and say, so how many times did you
watch Carrie?
or not even so much watch it, but read it. There's no similarity in filming style here at all to Carrie, but the story is a lot like Carrie.
At its very core, with the supernatural and coming of age of a young girl with a single mother who may be nuts. Christopher, I wanted to touch back on the different scenes, because I thought the scene that you're mentioning about the girl playing the drums at the party is actually one of my favorite scenes. And I thought that it was on purpose. I didn't take it as a mistake. It was like, it's this rebel attitude and rebel moment in her life. And I thought that the type of visual and action, because it's a little different. It's different than the rest of the film, but it's on purpose because of what's happening at that time. So I didn't see it as in the same eyes you did, which is interesting.
I'm sure they would appreciate you saying that, but that looked like a 12-year-old was first film. That's what that looked like, and I think it because it stood so. I mean, because you can look at the little musical video scenes, you can sort of see they're trying to shoot it like a music video. But yeah, I mean, even the shots.
But this wasn't supposed to be that. This was supposed to be different.
Well, no. But to me, I felt like they were trying to do a music video thing with that as well. But it was not. It did not look like it was purposely shot badly on purpose. And if it's purposely shot, I didn't
think it was bad, because I thought it was accurate. I thought it was
to me
that was perfect for that scene.
Well, I'm the element of that, of her playing drums and then seeing her abilities, I think is good. The way it's shot was bad. To me it's the worst part of the whole film.
Oh wow.
In my opinion. But I mean, I can sort of see what they're going for, but the way they shot it just was not shot well at all. And I think you have a lot of these music videos where they shoot it very frenetically and crazy camera, but it just looked like they were trying to emulate like a music video, like where they try to shoot stuff like really shaky camera stuff, like
the 70s kind of
70s or even like 80s. A lot of 80s, there's 80s videos are like that. So, but I know, to me that I cringed that whole scene. I cringed. I was like, I hope this gets over soon. But then there's other stuff that was, I mean, I'll say that scene where she puts her hand on that door and a key comes out her hand.
No, I like that.
I was like, that's high quality special effects for like an indie film. I was like, holy shit, this has turned into Harry Potter. Yeah. This turned into Harriet Potter and the I don't know,
Henry Bar and the
Hellbender, the Deathly Hellbenders or something. That I was like, okay. So, and I think that's the thing. It's like it goes there and goes back and forth between these different varying levels of quality. And to me, that kind of like, I wish it was just more straight across. But I think it works best when it's not trying to be all flashy with stuff. I mean, I kind of like the opening. I mean, I wasn't expecting the girl going into the atmosphere set on fire. It felt like it felt less. That felt like I thought it was going to be more like one of those indie action-y type films that you see
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But and then it ended up not being like that. And then it became like, slow and purposeful and telling the story. But I think the biggest problem, I think you have this girl, and I don't think it's even, she has any inkling that does she have an inkling that her mom is a witch?
Her mom's told her that she's sick.
Yeah,
she told her sick, but sick. Yeah, but it's like you go from her like, I'm a witch or whatever. And
they're more than that. They're kind of like vampire witches. Let's be real, because it's the blood that gives them their power, and they're immortal until their offspring. Yeah.
What does she make for money? That's what I was like. How is she?
Well, apparently she used to be a nurse, and she denied it when she was younger. But another thing is that earlier in the film,
they do live in the middle of nowhere.
They do.
You know.
But the Izzy mentions that she has visions and she was talking to spirits or something out in the woods. So I got the impression that she was growing into the inclination that something that she was always thinking that her mom was not telling her the entire truth. That's what I got. So I don't know if she knew the extent of it, but I think she had an inkling that there was something else there.
Yeah.
And that might have been just me reading into it from the intro going into it and knowing that they were a part of that. But it wasn't like the first time she mentioned something.
Yeah, but then it's like she goes from like 0 to 150 with the
worm. Yeah, once she gets
or later on the vagina trunk. It's like
I thought that was kind of.
I mean, it was cool, but it's like all these things. It's like, okay, where did that come from? It's like she just automatically.
Well, it could be. I didn't have a problem with that because in my mind, I was like, a lot of it is probably instinctual. I mean, if you know anything about witches, it's kind of an instinctual thing. It's based on like, and she like, communing with nature and.
Yeah, but I mean, that's to me, that's
though.
bad storytelling when you just allow things just to happen and there's no inkling or no any kind of like bridge to that at all. It doesn't necessarily have to be totally explained out, but then it's just like a lot of these things are just, it's just thrown out there.
She did seem to go bad very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's
what
the problem.
I had.
Like that.
Which I had more of a problem with. Not that she was able to perform these acts or do these things, but she just became straight up bad. Like, I'm like, God, she's just not a good person at all.
Well, I mean, they had the motivation there, but not enough. I agree with that because the one girl kept telling her to fuck off. And
yeah, that I actually understood that. But like the way she was treating her mom was actually really sweet and trying really hard. And she's just, she really messes with her mom and it's like poking the bear. If I was her mom, I'd freaking eat her.
Well, she told her she would at one point.
Yep.
So you break my heart, I'll devour you, she says.
That she probably should. And she, I mean,
now she's afraid. Now she can't.
I did like how they basically she has no father, and I do appreciate how they explain that. Mm-hmm. That they don't need a father. They just are. Once she killed her mom, which makes you wonder if it's like a reincarnation of her mom. Like, do they just cycle?
Anytime you kill your mom,
she's like, I'm not ready. Yeah, because she said, I'm not going to kill you right now, Mom. I'm not ready to have a little hellbender.
Yep. I like that.
And I love you. Yeah.
But you could see at that moment that she got the upper hand. Her mom was totally afraid, which was all the powers are based on fear. That.
That's what I like a lot of it. Like some of that I really can get behind. I like the idea of the fear. Once again, that's a play on a vampire thing for me because the blood tastes different and stuff. But
the whole thing about the maggots, right? With how the fear grew into the maggots, which I thought was like they're potent. They're small, but they're potent. Yeah, man.
See, Christopher's like, nah.
You didn't buy into that?
So we all liked it more than Christopher did, for sure. Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't know. I felt like.
I was actually worried you might. I mean, because a lot of times I watch things and I think about Christopher and I'm like, oh.
Or Jeff. Yeah, think about Christopher.
Jeff is so kind, though. Jeff likes almost everything.
Almost.
Yeah. Christopher.
Who's
for
Jeff?
Christopher to say he enjoyed it, I mean, that's.
Am I that picky?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
I don't think I'm that picky.
No.
There's been times recently where we've liked stuff a whole lot more than Doc had.
Let me get my sarcasm hat.
That's true. Yeah.
Someone told me I was snooty a while back.
Snooty.
Maybe I've become snooty all of a sudden.
No, I don't think you're snooty.
I don't think you're snooty. I think people take it wrong. I think you're matter of fact.
Yeah,
I'm too honest. I think
maybe.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
We're totally
off.
Just so you know, nobody is saying that you're wrong. So
Yeah.
Because
I see
we're
it.
not attacking you. We're just having fun.
It's
Dave,
just
Don't make me eat you.
yeah. I'll devour you.
Devour you. Disappoint me. I'll devour
I'm
you.
gonna make this 1990s visual effect of my face turning. Am I wrong?
No. No.
All right. I think we should wrap this up and save our face. All right, Dave, you're up first. Give us your final thoughts, your score, your favorite scene before I
yeah, I as tends to be the case with this, I do not go into near the depth as Christopher G. Mohr does. The pool scene did not bother me whatsoever. I kind of decided early on I was going to like this, and it played out, and I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I found it it surprised me visually on more when I wasn't expecting it. I thought the story was serviceable. Izzy was likable, and until she wasn't, and yeah, I just kind of bought into the whole thing. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think the favorite half of the scene has to be the first scene, just because it's what made me realize that I was actually going to pay attention to this one. First off, when the witch kind of comes back to life, and they shoot it and stab it and hit it with rocks and whatever else, so they can do it.
Yeah.
But then when she just like lights up like a rocket ship and blasts off into space, I was like, "What the hell am I watching?" I mean, it's probably not the best scene in the movie, but it's the one that I realized that okay, I'm actually going to stay awake for this one. And so,
oh my gosh,
yeah. So I liked it.
How many of you fall asleep during?
Yeah. Hey, those ones that look like the full horror stuff, I tune out pretty quick on those ones.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really good. I think it was very well done, given the resources and the money they likely had to make it. I think they did a damn good job.
Okay, I like that. And just so you know, I just want to throw this out. I like how we all come from different perspectives. There's different backgrounds for each of us, and it plays out.
Oh, yeah, that's why it's good, though.
Yep.
That's
all right.
We kind of cover everybody, I think.
Yep.
So, I really enjoyed it too. I mean, I think that you have to take into account like what their budget was and how this family came together and made this movie. And I don't know, that warms the cockles of my black heart there, because I think that's so awesome and wonderful. And like for them to make horror movies and to be spitting blood on each other, and I'm like, that's wonderful. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. And okay, so I told you that I love the relationship between the mother and the daughter. And so my favorite scene is, and it just felt so real when they were doing the sticks, when they were doing the thing.
Oh, yes.
And then hers is like bloody and it drops into the ground and gets sucked up by the ground. And the mom laughs and she's like, see? That's why you can't go into the world. And I died. I actually really started laughing. I was like,
that was a great scene.
Yeah, it felt so real and so natural. And I don't know. I just like I like the relationship there. I don't feel like this is necessarily a character study, but I feel like they definitely have good chemistry on screen.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah.
Very good. Christopher, let us have it, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll say this. I think people should check it out. I think it's got some good elements in it. I think a lot of the some of the scenes where there's some really beautiful scenery in this. There's like ones with all these multiple trees and different areas and stuff. There's like a waterfall, and there's different areas they were able to shoot at that I like gives so much production value to like an indie film. And I think there's moments that really work special effects wise, and there's other moments that like Halo 1990s called want their effect back. Because there's something with fire and another part where like you remember when people in the 90s like, oh, I can do this effect where the your mouth does this. But overall I think it's got some interesting ideas. I think story wise it really didn't work as well for me. I can see all the different things you guys liked. But at the same time, there's an extreme overuse of drones in this, which is like, evidently it's like, we had to pay this much for a drone, so we're going to use it in every other scene. And you don't need to use it that much. Come on. But I think the acting's good with the two main actors. And the story's interesting. And it has those moments where, moments like, oh gosh, I'm not sure about this film. And then like, ooh, a key just came out of her hand. That's cool. So I'll say, I think it's definitely an interesting film. Everybody should sort of check out and make their own opinion about. And maybe you'll like it like these other few people, and maybe you won't like it as much as like I did. But I still appreciate parts of it.
These people, these weirdos,
These
yeah.
God, I'm crying.
I will give it. I'll give it a 3.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
That's better than I thought you were going to do.
Because I think if there weren't those moments that made me, Dave had his like, ooh, she's going to the sun moment, and me, it's like, ooh, this just turned into like a Harry Potter movie when she pulls the key out. So then I got excited every time somebody would put their hand on, like, ooh, a key comes out. I think if more moments like that, I think it'd be kind of cool. As for favorite scene, I'll say when...
Isn't that your favorite scene?
I don't know. It's not really a scene. It's more of a
act
moment.
Okay.
I'll say my favorite scene is when she goes down in the vagina cave.
It felt claustrophobic.
The trunk vagina, although it seemed a little bit smaller than a human could crawl through. So I don't know if it was if it wasn't like a actual, because when you see into it, it felt like it was smaller.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys saying this is a vagina, because I thought it was a big butthole. So I like.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I was gonna say butthole, but
now
that you said it, now that you said it, and in context, it absolutely is. But
it is, yeah. Well, I thought it was a butthole, but then like the whole Carrie angle, I was like, oh, well, maybe it's more a vaginal cave.
No, it is. It has to be, but
the trunk vagina. But yeah, it does look like it did like a butthole. It's just like a big hole, fleshy hole in the trunk.
Okay.
Oh, it's in the trunk too, so I guess it could be.
Oh my! God!
I'm sorry, I've taken this podcast down.
If they did that, that's amazing.
The Addams family.
There wasn't any junk in the trunk.
Yeah, so that's probably my scene, is when they go into that, because that was the one moment where it's like, oh, this is kind of cool, until the fire stuff happened. But yeah, I think that's probably my favorite scene.
Okay, I like that. I'll take it. I enjoyed it. I liked the characters. I liked the story. I agree with Christopher that the story. I think it could have used a little more polish. It needed some more oomph to it, because at times I was like wondering what the purpose was. But there's so many elements of it that I loved. The interactions between the characters, it just really won me over. So I enjoyed it, but I actually like it a little less than Dave, a little more than Crystal. So 3.75.
Oh, okay.
And there's also other elements I liked, which is weird, because some of them I didn't like when they were doing the hand on the book, or when they were having the dreams. And like there's one moment when they're at the table and there's just a half a girl there. I thought that was really cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's other times when it was like all these psychedelic-y kind of weird things. And I think that might be some of the 90s effects that you were talking about, maybe.
Well,
but
more like The Ring.
Yeah, some of that didn't work for me, but other times it did. Like when her face is just in black and she's like, "What's going on?" I really like that. So my favorite scene though is the whole thing with the with the maggots, the spitting of the blood,
yes.
and the whole thing about she finally she says, I don't feel well, and you can see that the daughter's at that point is getting the upper hand, and she turns to her and says, "Were you in my dreams?" Mm-hmm. And I just like the whole implication of it, because there was the couple of the sequences that happened before it and how it all tied together. So that was my favorite scene, and I really like the blood spitting. What sold it is they just lay there and cackled, all covered in blood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I loved that scene so much too. I thought it was precious. Like because when she spit blood on her, and then they just kind of went, and then they started laughing. I was dead. I was like, "That's
and then
funny."
she flipped her over and
yeah,
did the same thing.
Yeah.
It just felt like a weird kink. I was like, what is going on here?
See, Chris.
2 girls, 1 blood cup. Yeah.
Christopher.
Sorry. My bad.
You know what?
No, I think I was just grossed out by that scene. It didn't seem precious to me. I was like, oh, you're just spitting blood into.
What was the reaction that was precious? It wasn't this.
Yeah, but then it just felt weird. It just felt weirdly fake, I guess, because it's I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't feeling that specific moment, but.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's our review for Hellbender. It is streaming on Shudder, so you have Shudder, listeners.
Yeah.
Go watch this, and then leave us some comments down below. Let us know.
I'm really interested to see what people think.
Yes,
I think this could be, polarizing. I think people think like you, Christopher, for sure.
I don't know. I'm sure maybe more people think your way. I mean, maybe I'm just being overly critical at scenes, but I mean, I like I said, I don't hate it. It's got some really beautiful. It's got some beautiful scenery, and I think it's got some good acting in it. I think it's just a little bit up and down, but still, I still think it's watchable. It's not so
high praise.
Yeah.
High praise.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Crystal, Christopher, and of course, Brother Dave. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me,
Brother Dave.
Let's say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.